there's nothing there. You know, eventually there's nothing left of your brains, you know, if you keep sticking yourselves with needles. Look, here's a cactus. Don't believe me? Man, you know, they had that guy, Johnny, whatever his name was. I didn't really watch that, you know, that movie, you know. But he's running off this ramp and jumping off trampolines into a cactus and going, look how stupid. I'm jumping into a cactus and sticking myself with all these needles. I must have no brains. Everybody's watching a movie and laughing like, ha ha. And I'm like, can you guys figure it out yet? You know, that actor got paid a lot of money, man, because I don't know about you, but I ain't gonna run and jump off a trampoline into a big cactus full of needles. You know? Like, man, how stupid you gotta be? That guy's like, man, I gotta do something. They don't understand us. So he said, I tell you what, I'm gonna jump off this trampoline into a cactus with a bunch of needles. And then maybe they'll go, him and they'll laugh at it, you know? He didn't do it to be funny. He was like, maybe one day those people will finally wake up and have brains and go, man, you mean that guy was jumping off of that trampoline into a cactus with all those needles? And like, man, that hurts. And that's like God looking down from above and say, you see that angel I sent over there? He jumped off a trampoline into a cactus to tell people to stop sticking so many needles in their arms. I mean, man, what does it take? Somebody watched that movie and I couldn't even watch it, man. I got into like my 5-10 minutes of it. I'm like, and I just stood up and walked out. I'm like, at what point do you go like, hey, we got this friend, he's a genius. Hey, my friend, he's like a genius. We're watching this stuff with people doing dumb stuff, jumping into cactuses, man, going into Lowe's and, hey, there's a toilet I'm going to sit on and just take a poop in the middle of a store. I stood up and walked out. I'm like, who wants to watch that kind of stuff? And that's like, you know, the Guardians, man. Every time these sheriffs and these cops and everything, they go out there and they're like, man, you need to see the Facebook message that says some of those cops just started quitting their jobs. They're like, man, resigning. It's like, I can't watch it anymore. And then they go, can somebody go wake up that Guardian dude? And I'm like, man, I don't want to wake up, man. I just want to stay on my sailboat. I can't watch that anymore. They got a whole group of us, man. We're sailing around the United States out there in the water, man. It's like the reserve Navy. And then we got the bigger Navy ships out there. Just waiting for somebody to get some kind of psychological solution because, man, I can't believe some of the stuff I seen. I was like, whoa. I thought people were kidding. I thought it was just stuff you see on TV. I mean, when I was growing up, that's what my family taught me. And it says, man, that's just stuff you see on TV, you know? It's like an example of the stuff that you don't do. And then there's stuff on TV, example of the things you're supposed to do. You know, that's parental guidance. Then I go out there and I'm like, I see these people, these kids, man, you know, they just think, hey, here's a TV, here's a remote, go for it, you know? And I'm like, I'm watching them and like, I remember I was in Ocala. I started the Objective Review, man, like a reporting journalism, you know, videographer, you know, agency with a friend of mine, you know, because I couldn't believe it, man. I saw one of these peaceful kids, and he's watching TV, and all of a sudden he's jumping around. He's like, man, it's about to get real, man. And he's just, you know, he's jumping around and running out the side, and I'm looking at him like, man, that kid's crazy, you know? I was like, it's just TV, man. Yeah, you need to stop watching that TV so much and, you know, get out there and do something with life, you know? And I was like, man. He wasn't listening to his mother, so I said, I says, I tell you what. When I bought him a toothbrush, man. I says, if you're not listening to your mother, it means you're talking too much, you know? And you're not listening enough, so here's a toothbrush. Because that's what my dad would have done, man. You know, when I was growing up. He said, here's a toothbrush. I want you to go in there. I want you to clean the bathroom floor with a toothbrush, you know? Because the things in your life, you know, shouldn't come off the floor in the bathroom. You know? I still had amnesia at the time. But if I didn't have amnesia at the time, I would have told that kid, you know, the reason I had you scrub that floor with a toothbrush. Because when it came out of the bathroom, I would have said, would you brush your teeth with that toothbrush you just brushed around the toilet and the floor with? And some of that stuff you see on TV that sounds like the toilet, that's the stuff you're not supposed to do. Don't let that stuff come out of your mouth. That's parental guidance. Man, I went through that agency to see what we could do for orphaned kids. Some of those guys went in there and it's like, they were telling me in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, I went to this one thing and I said, man, some of those Marines and stuff, man, they left out of there peeing their pants, man. They were like, I've never seen anything like that in my life. You know? Some of those people, they couldn't handle it. They're like, man, I can't go in there sober. He said, how are we going to get an agent in there? He says, well, give him some drugs and put him to sleep. We'll send him in there, and when he wakes up, we'll figure out how to fix it. So that's what we did. And I'll say it, I was the top of my class. You can take a genius and put him in there, and that's just regular society in some places and areas, you know. And then when they wake up, they're like, it's like waking up from a nightmare. An Army friend of mine didn't know we were friends. So I put a piece of paperwork in there and it said, it's a transcript. It said, you realize that I'm not here against you? It's because some of those people go through boot camp and they send them to some of these places and they get shell shock. We were talking about, you know, turtle head shell shock, the academy. You know, because the Army people, they wear those hats, look like turtle hats, you know. Turtle time, shell shock. And when they come back, sometimes it's like they're waking up from a nightmare. I says, well, if we could get a system that can fix that, and at the same time, like a friend of mine in the Navy, with my bus driver, an ounce of prevention. Oil is the life's blood of a machine. Did you forget the oil for your head? You know? The wisdom. So that we don't become lifeless machines. So I wrote a story about technology and I said, don't ever let technology surpass our humanity. The difference between us and technology is we're biological agents of God. We're able to think, create, and the difference between us and a machine is we're able to think, create, and redesign. The machine can only design, whereas the creation of God can redesign and correct errors. Now, how can a human being destroy civilizations. If a civilization has been programmed to destroy a civilization, and then once that war is over, what do we do with them? That's the question. So we made a movie called The Matrix. It's about asking the right question. What do we do with them? And one of those sleeper agents wakes up and says, "You didn't ask the right question. It's what do we do for them of God?"